So you just got a new puppy or you're planning on getting a new puppy. Well, this is how you survive the first 24 hours with your new puppy. So first, I'm gonna cover all the tools or equipment that you're going to need, and then I'm gonna break down how we're going to use each of those. So first and foremost, you're obviously going to need a crate. This puppy is way too young to be unsupervised. So the crate is gonna be, without a doubt, a no-brainer. Don't even get emotional over this. If you're emotional about putting your puppy in a crate, just don't get a puppy. You're gonna wanna get a 12 to 24 pack of nylon leashes. Go to Amazon, type 12 pack, 24 pack, or like bulk nylon leashes and try to find the thinnest, lightest ones that you can find. A lot of them come in like 3/4 of an inch. If you can only find that, that's fine. But you're gonna want a lot of leashes. Next, you're gonna wanna make sure you have tug toys that are specifically for tug, and you're gonna wanna make sure that you have fetching toys, balls and stuff like that. So for when you take your dog outside, and primarily the tools that you're gonna walk your dog on, you're gonna want long lines. So I would say probably like a 15 to 30 foot long line, or maybe even both, one 15 foot, one 30 foot long line. And then you're also gonna want a high quality retractable leash. Oh my God. Yeah, a lot of people are gonna be like, oh my God, a retractable leash. Yes, you're gonna want a high quality retractable leash. Really just only get the Flexi brand. That's the only brand that I recommend is Flexi. You're gonna want a standard flat buckle collar for the dog, just like a nice little flat buckle collar. This is actually what you're gonna hook those 12 to 24 pack of nylon leashes on, not all at the same time, but you're gonna hook it to those. We'll talk about that later. Then you're gonna want just like a nice little standard harness. I'm actually not a fan of harnesses as the dog matures, but for a puppy, my priority is not to teach that little 12-week-old puppy how to walk nicely. It doesn't matter at this stage. So for walking the puppy, you can use a harness. Make sure you have a lot of chews for the dog. Now you want durable, safe chews that even if your dog is unsupervised for a little bit, it's not something that they can tear up and swallow. It's not something that they can chew on and make it really soft. So really something like an elk antler is what I'm going to recommend. And you're going to want earplugs for nighttime. Every dog is different. However, there are some puppies that the whining prolongs. Now, during the beginning, you're probably going to have to take your puppy out in the middle of the night because their bladder is not strong enough to hold it. But you don't want that to continue for long. And if the puppy continues whining, you have your earplugs in. Honestly, I'm not even kidding you. Like, I think it's called Myers, M-E-Y-E-R. They make like these soft little jelly earplugs. Those are going to be your best option. All right, so how do we use all this equipment and what are my recommendations for using them? So first, let's talk about what the priority is with your puppy right now. So the priority with your puppy is getting in a very consistent daily routine. That's the same thing day in and day out. That way it's going to create a plan for the puppy. It's not going to be a lot of unexpected changes, a lot of different people coming over. This is when we walk. Okay, now we're not walking this time. Now we're not eating this time. Now we're not pottying this time. It's different each day, right? We don't want that. That can create a lot of uncertainty and anxiety in the dog. So we want to create a consistent daily plan. So speak with everybody in the household, who's going to be responsible for what, and that way you guys can just get a solid routine with all the family members. Let's talk about how we're going to use the crate. So first, what kind of crate do we want? When it comes to getting the crate for the dog, right now it has to be the appropriate size, because part of using the right size crate is potty training the dog. We want to start to teach the dog to go outside. So where people that make a lot of mistakes is they get a crate that's way too big. And what the dog can do is pee and poop on one side and lay on the other. That's never going to help your dog learn to go potty outside. So with your crate, you want it just large enough for the puppy to be able to stand up, turn around, and lay down. This is where people get really emotional. Oh my God, it's so small for my dog. Let me get him 10 extra inches and this and that. Dude, your puppy's sleeping in the crate. He's either chewing on his bone or he's sleeping. He's not throwing a party with all of his buddies that are coming over. So it just needs to be enough size for the puppy to stand up, turn around, and lay down. You can get a wire crate. There's wire crates that come with dividers, so you can kind of notch in the divider and make it a little bit smaller and kind of adjust it as the puppy gets bigger. Inside your crate, you don't want any toys in there because he can tear them up and ingest the stuffing of the toy, which can be very dangerous. So inside the crate, all you want is a durable, long long-lasting chew like we talked about earlier. So while we're kind of on the topic of potty training, one thing you don't want to do is use pee pads. I've never, ever seen a dog actually learn how to successfully use pee pads and decipher between, hey, I gotta pee on the pee pads here versus the hardwood floor. It always ends up the dog pisses and poops all over the house. And let's just say that successfully the dog knew how to pee and poop on the pee pads. Do you want a dog peeing and pooping in your house? Probably not. So let's not use pee pads. Pee pads are an absolute no-go. Potty training is really simple. It's actually not that hard. You're just gonna take the dog out of the crate, and this is not gonna make this into a potty training video, but you're gonna take the dog out of the crate. You're gonna put one of those 12 to 24 pack nylon leashes on the dog's collar immediately, take him potty outside. If he doesn't go after 10 minutes, he doesn't get freedom in the house. He goes back in the crate. You wait a few more minutes, and then you take the dog back outside until he goes. This is not gonna turn into a potty training video. I'll cover that all in my totally free badass puppy course, which I will add the link below. Go ahead, check it out. It literally covers how to raise the perfect puppy till about 6 months of age. So let's talk about those 12 to 24 pack of nylon leashes. So anytime that puppy is outside of the crate, you want to have one of these leashes connected to the dog's flat collar. Don't even skimp on this. This is going to save you so much stress because it's going to be a very simple black and white way to get the dog to do things or get the dog to stop doing things. If you don't have a leash and collar on this dog, you're going to have no way but to talk to the puppy, which is going to confuse him and think you're actually reinforcing some of the bad behaviors that he's doing, or you're going to have to go physically grab the puppy, which can also be viewed as reinforcement from the dog. So you want to make sure that at all times when this puppy is outside of their crate, you have a leash connected to that flat collar that we talked about earlier. So let's talk about toys. This is the most important thing that you can do with your dog. This is what my dog training system is based around, is interactive play. So games like fetch and games like tug. So what you're going to want to do is carve out at least 20 minutes to devote nothing but interactively playing with your dog. If I'm playing tug, I'm playing tug. If I'm playing fetch, we're building fetch. But this is one of the most important things you can do with your dog to develop their self-esteem, to give them purpose in life, to build a relationship between you and the dog. And I'm not going to make this into an interactive play video, but you want to make sure that you carve out 20 minutes at least once a day. Maybe you can break it up to a couple different sessions throughout the day, but 20 minutes, of interactive play with you and that dog. And again, devote your attention to this game. Don't be playing and, toss the toy and check your phone and, oh, good job, buddy, and let the dog play with the toy by themselves. That's not what these toys are meant for. The toys are meant for interactive play between you and the dog. This is where a lot of people make a mistake. They get the toys, bring them home. Hey, Scrappy, I got toys. Here you go. Give the dog the toy. The dog has to go and dick around for 30 minutes by himself with the toy, and he ends up tearing it up and it costs you $30. That's not what it's meant for. Again, it's meant for you to play with the dog together. Long line and retractable leashes. So a short leash is the absolute worst thing you can walk your dog on, and it's actually one of the reasons that creates reactivity in a dog. So I'm not going to go down this huge talk for this, but you want to walk your dog on a retractable leash, gives them more freedom on the walk. Obviously have, situational awareness. If it's a really tight situation, maybe I need to get some space from the other people or the other dogs. Don't just let your dog run into traffic. Don't let your dog cut off bikers. Have situational awareness. But you want to walk your dog on a retractable leash, or you could use the 15-foot long line that we talked about. It's just a little bit more annoying because you have to manage it. But what I want the long lines for, if you're building fetch, keep a long line on the dog. Puppies are naturally going to want to come back to you, but that puppy might want to play keep away. So at least you have the long line on there to kind of block that and then encourage the puppy to come back to you. The other thing that I want you to do with your puppy frequently is take them out to parks that have big open fields. This is what you're going to want to use that 30-foot long line for, is to let the dog go and experience what it's like to be a dog and run free, and you have the safety on the dog of the long line. Don't take your puppy off leash. I feel like this goes without saying. Your puppy should should not be off leash ever because it's obviously very dangerous and unsafe until they're off leash trained, which is way later in life, well, like 6 months later. But the big reason a lot of dogs develop behavioral issues is because they're deprived of this very basic birthright to run free. This is a basic birthright of a dog, is to they have the ability to go to a new place, a field or the woods or tree lines that border the woods, and they can run around and sniff and get lost and just have fun being a puppy or being a dog. When we deprive dogs of this, what do you think is going to happen? Well, of course, behavioral issues are going to happen. So all you need to do is hook that dog on a 30-foot long line, go to a park away from everybody. Don't work on anything. Literally just let the dog have fun and get a glimpse of feeling what it's like to be a dog. Very little dogs actually get to experience this. So that is a very important thing you have to do with your puppy on a weekly basis. Flat buckle collar. We already talked about the flat buckle collar. This is what's going to be on your dog. You can take it off inside the crate for safety, but when the dog comes out of the crate, flat buckle collar goes on. One of the leashes that we talked about goes onto the dog's flat collar. And like we talked about, you're always going to have this leash connected to the dog's flat collar. And that's going to be a way to interrupt or guide the dog inside the home or outside the home as well. If I have a puppy that's jumping up on me, I can say nope. I can grab the leash and I can interrupt the puppy to say, hey, I'm going to create a boundary there. You can't do that, right? If you have a puppy jumping up or just maybe begging you around the dinner table, I'm going to grab the leash and create some space for me and the puppy, guests coming over, whatever the situation may be. That leash connected to the dog's flat collar is going to be the main way that you physically show them what you need them to do or not do. So a standard harness, I would actually walk your puppy on a harness. I am not fans of it as the dog matures, but right now I'm not really trying to teach a puppy how to walk nicely. That doesn't matter to me. Right now I'm trying to build up that puppy's confidence using that interactive play that we talked about earlier and take that everywhere that I go. But for right now with the harness, I don't mind it that the puppy might get away from you on the retractable leash. Honestly, if you have a 16-foot retractable leash, that puppy's not even going to have the ability to pull. They might hit the end of that 16-foot retractable leash. They probably won't, to be honest with you. So right now, a harness is fine with a retractable leash on it. So you want some durable, safe chews for inside the house and also inside the crate. Something that's not going to get soft and deteriorate over time that the puppy can chew on. So just like I talked about earlier, elk antler would probably be the best option. Earplugs, we already talked about them. It's pretty self-explanatory. If your puppy's whining like crazy in the crate, you can throw the earplugs in and go to sleep so you're not disturbed during the middle of the night. I'm going to give you one bonus thing that you can include, and that is an exercise pen. So it's basically just like a baby pen. This is not to replace the crate. This is something that you can put the puppy in maybe while you're busy cooking dinner or taking care of your kid, but you still want the puppy to be out with you. You can put them in the exercise pen, but you still have to supervise them in the exercise pen. That's the thing. It just allows for a little less supervision, but the puppy can do bad things inside the exercise pen. They can absolutely have the freedom to pee or poop on one side and lay on the other. They're pretty large, right? But it allows a little less level of supervision because the puppy can't necessarily go to the next room or go up the stairs or chew on some wires, etc. inside the exercise pen. So it does allow for a little less supervision, but you're going to have to supervise your puppy a lot when they're out. And if there's any question about you not being able to supervise the puppy, maybe you got to go get the mail. Maybe you got to go take a shower. Maybe you got to do something with the kids. Maybe you're cooking dinner and you're just focused on cooking dinner. If that is ever the situation, the puppy goes in the crate. If you can't supervise this puppy like laser eyes, then the puppy's going to go in the crate, and that's totally fine and acceptable. There's a reason we have bassinets for babies, for safety, right? It's a big part, it's for safety. If I can't supervise you, I put you in your bassinet, you go to sleep. Same thing with the puppy. So earlier we talked about the priority of getting in a solid daily routine with your puppy. Let me just give you a 1,000-foot overview of what that looks like, but it's pretty self-explanatory. One, we're going to want to start getting in a routine of getting this puppy out to go potty. Two, we're going to want to have a feeding time. You're going to want to do breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Three, you're going to want to have a walk time. A lot of people will say, oh, don't take your puppy out until they have all the shots. I think the risk of not exposing the puppy to the outside world during this time period proposes a lot more issues than your puppy getting parvoed. go. So what you want to not do is take your puppy where a lot of dogs frequent, because if there's some type of bacteria, then that could affect your puppy. But you definitely want to get your puppy out on walks. You definitely want to start taking them out and seeing the real world together. That's very important. So getting out on walks and getting out to parks, not dog parks, like parks where you guys can go out, like I talked about earlier, and spend some quality time together. Playtime is really important. We talked about that earlier. So figuring out when we're going to carve out some time to do some interactive play. And then also downtime. Now that we got the puppy fulfilled with a walk, we had a really solid play session, the dog is physically and mentally feeling good, they're content, they're fulfilled. Hey, now this is where we chill out together. And it's going to be hard with the puppy. They're kind of crazy and they're very up and down, but you're going to want to carve out some time to just settle together. And when we settle, okay, you're settled down. Now I can put you in the crate. So I hope you found this video useful to prepare you for the first 24 hours with your puppy. I would cover a lot more in this video, but honestly, just go to my website and get my totally free puppy course. It's free for a limited time, and it's going to literally prepare you for everything that you need to know to raise the perfect puppy. Go check it out, guys. Share this video with somebody you know is getting a new puppy, and share the puppy course link to them too. Anyways, guys, we'll catch you in the next one. Thanks.